Even the bad days or the stupid decisions I made, I learned from it. So, I'm a better person now having gone through what I went through in there and experiencing and seeing what I've seen, done what I've done.
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms. Andrew here. I like the hat.
Thank you.
Welcome to America.
Thank you.
Sipping on a little Angel's Envy. Why don't you give everyone some background on you?
All right. 30 years old, 6 years in the Marine Corps, about 4 or 5 years working on the private side, and 2 or 3 years working as a paramedic firefighter out of New Haven.
Why'd you go in?
It was just after 9/11, and I was finally old enough to. Grandfather was in the Army for about 25 years, and everybody told me not to, so I went in the Marine Corps.
How'd your parents handle it?
Actually, I signed up when I was 17, so they had to sign for me. So they were all about it.
Awesome. Talk to me a little bit about that journey.
All right, well, the decision kind of came down because I was stuck up in a podunk town in the middle of nowhere in upstate Connecticut, and if there is even an upstate Connecticut, doing literally nothing but smoking weed and getting into trouble. So it was either, drop out of high school, get my GED, go in the Marine Corps, or stay in school in East Haddam, do a bunch of drugs, get in a lot of trouble, and do something stupid. So
Got it.
I, went the path of least resistance, so to speak.
So when you went in, did you have your ass handed to you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely.
What was that experience like, having gone from smoking weed, getting in trouble, to getting your ass handed?
Well, I was all of like 140 pounds soaking wet at that point in my life. I was, 17 years old, and I probably weighed as much as my one leg at that point. So getting in there, not only was I extremely intimidated because I'm around a whole bunch of, big ass motherfucking dudes that have nothing to do with themselves except for to stay in the gym all day. But no, I was extremely intimidated, very scared, nervous, especially just because I didn't know what was next, what was coming up. But as I made my way through it, I got more accustomed to it, more numb to the pain, so to speak, and I grew to love it.
Tell me a story about your time in the service. Good day, bad day.
A lot of bad days, a lot of good days. Usually the bad days are the good days. I'll tell you about a time when I first came in, before anything had even really taken place. I just got to my unit, 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines. First time in the fleet, literally my first weekend off on liberty in the fleet, and my team leaders and squad leaders took me and one of our other boots out. We had a 50-person boot drop, which a boot is, I don't know if you know what that is New Marines. So they took just me and one other guy out, and they took us out to the strip club of all places. And next thing I know, I'm getting brought into this private room by one of the dancers. I'm thinking I'm getting a little special treatment. I'm like, all right, I'm all about it. And then she takes off my belt and starts beating the fuck out of me. Just whipping me so bad I had lash marks all over my chest. She takes my pants off, lashes me all in here, caught me really good in a place I really would rather not get caught with a belt. And then after it was all over and said and done with, she made up for that, trust me. But when that was all said and done with, she told me that they put her up to it. They actually paid her $50. So I took $100 out of my pocket and gave it to her. I was like, "Now you got to take care of both of them." And she left a bite mark on my team leader that lasted for 3 years.
Oh my God.
I'm not even joking.
I wasn't expecting that story.
No.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
When you look back on your time in the service, you look back on it fondly?
Yeah, absolutely. Even the bad days or the stupid decisions I made, I learned from it. So, I am a better person now having gone through what I went through in there and experiencing and seeing what I've seen, done what I've done. No regrets.
Your coworker Bo was talking to me off camera after and mentioned something that we've heard time and time again here, which is, he said, I lost a handful of guys when we were overseas, but I've lost twice as many since I've come home.
Yeah, so that actually really hits home for me. So probably one of the worst days I've had in a long time, and I've had a lot. I'm going through something right now that I would consider probably one of my worst days, but that still pretty much tops it so far. It was about a year ago. I found out that a buddy of mine had killed himself. And that meant to me that I was the last member of my squad in the Marine Corps left alive.
Wow.
And the sad part is over 50% of them died back home.
Jeez.
Whether it was a DUI, suicide, or overdose.
How do you process that? And how do you help the other guys? Not necessarily the guys, obviously you're the only one left in your squad, but how do you help guys who are coming through this transition?
Well, see, that's kind of the kicker. That's where I kind of fell into the company that I'm with now. It kind of lined up perfectly in my timeline, along with just everything else that kind of came to a head at that point in my life. Not only was it helping me while I was trying to help other vets, but getting this whole 22 a day down to 21, down to 20, or at least trying to do what we can to make that happen, is very personal for me, clearly. So by me finding that out at the same time frame I happened to link up with Frank, it couldn't have made a better fit.
These guys don't know what you do. Give them some context.
All right, so I work for Soldier Solutions. It's a company that helps find service dogs for disabled vets, or for vets that are in need of some kind of assistance, that whether it be PTSD, anxiety, depression. We actually linked up with a nonprofit that goes out and rescues the dogs. They train them up, and when they're done training, which we pay for by selling a bunch of T-shirts and other veteran-owned and operated businesses, merchandise. Once they're done training, we help get them placed with vets. That's kind of our way to end veteran suicide, or at least try and stop it as best we can.
You know, it's pretty messed up, man. I've talked about this a lot on the show and in the past, is that people will actually debate the number 22 a day. Like, well, some figures put it more 27, others say it's 19, but like, who gives a shit? At the end of the day, we're talking about lives. Like,
right.
We are debating a statistical analysis over how many lives are more important, 27 versus 19. As someone who's been there and has lost brothers to this, for people who are watching right now who are in that place, who are in that hole, what can you tell them?
Well, first off, they're not alone. So me getting out of the Marine Corps when I did, I think I found that over the years of my experience adjusting to civilian life, now that I've been out for 10 years, is that you feel extremely alone. You're around all your family and friends, but nobody has any clue what you're experiencing, what you're going through, what's going through your head, what kind of emotions you have going on. And now, even though a lot of, especially the guys getting out of the service, especially Marines, from my experience, you don't want to sit there and be whining on a couch to some doctor about what's bothering you, but you still have those emotions running through you.
Sure.
So, I just want these guys out there that haven't found these outlets yet, or haven't found the hand to reach out to, that just to know that they're not alone. There's a million of us out there that are trying to go through the same things that they're going through. And there's plenty of people out there like us trying to help them do that.
Brother, sometimes that right there is all it takes. And you guys hitting the share button on this video. So, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks for opening up. Guys, thanks for hitting that share button. Thanks for watching. God bless America.